Hello, thank you so much for choosing this video. I hope you enjoy it. If you do, please could you like it, share it, and it'd be great if you could subscribe to the channel. It'll really help me out. Enjoy. Welcome to Copenhagen. That's the hotel I'm staying at. Not too bad. A bit pricey, but then again I am in the centre of Copenhagen, so what do I expect? No frills though. Just a bed really. But if you ever come in, there's a good reason why I'm staying here, and I'll show you why, which is why I've started the video now. It's a bit brisk this morning, but not that much different to good old British weather really. Typical autumnal morning really, or late summer morning, whatever you want to call it. So I'm just on my way to Malmö in Sweden now. I just want to show you how easy it is really to get there from Copenhagen. So look at all these bikes. Wow, look at that. Crazy, yeah? I like a bike in Copenhagen. So this building here is the Grand Central Station. Okay, so how do I buy a ticket? It's quite easy. They've got lots of these ticket machines scattered about, or you can go to the usual in-person thing, but these are very easy to use. Even the announcements are bilingual and in English, which is great. A bit ignorant, I know, but you'll hear this change into English in a minute. Right, so anyway, to buy a ticket, if you can hear me, there you go. So press English, ticket and seat. Where am I going? Malmö, one adult. I'm going now. Standard. Add to basket. 96, which is about 11 quid. So I'll just pay. There we are. Simple as that. The other thing about Denmark is, whether it's a good thing or not, sorry about the filming there, everything's pretty much cashless. There we are. One ticket, 2nd of October to Malmö. Right. Good, eh? So I was off to Malmö for about £11, so different country. Yes, I'm just on the train now. Got quite lucky, I found it in the end. It's a train to Gothenburg. Show you a little bit of Copenhagen as we leave the city.
Copenhagen Airport, Malmö and towards Gothenburg. For your and everyone's safety, we kindly ask you to keep the doors open from all luggage. Me and my colleague will soon be out to look at your tickets, so please have these ready for inspection. And we wish you a pleasant journey.
Then first impressions of Sweden. This is Malmo station. For those of you that are interested, I'll just have a little bit of a mooch about. I've got a clue where I'm going. Couldn't really speak on the train, it was deathly quiet. There was a couple of lasses speaking, but that was about it. Not too dissimilar to any railway station anywhere, really, to be honest. Burger King, Subway, the usual suspects. Well, there are some nice baked goods. Nice selection, isn't it? Let's see where we can go from here. Various Swedish places. I must admit, I had this horrifying feeling when I was on the train that, damn, I've left my passport in the hotel. Then I thought, well, Schengen region should be alright, I've got my driving licence on me. An idiot. I didn't have to show it or anything, so that's good. Right, so I haven't got a bloody clue where I am. I'm in the middle of Malmo, I guess, but I'm going to find somewhere and I'm going to tell you a little bit about Malmo. Sit down and do a piece to camera. Quite cool weather, nippy, but it's alright. Yeah, quite nice. That's the Savoy Hotel, that is. I mean, there is a real mix between old and new. Look at that, in the foreground, that building, and then the towers behind it. Who agreed that, eh? Terrible. And some of the architecture is great. Look at the top of that building. It's your typical tourist shop there. The old Swedish flag. Just remind myself I'm in Sweden if I ever forget. So I've come to a big square now, so I think this would be a good place to plonk myself down and tell you a little bit about Malmo and the problems that it's having. Go and sit near this. I don't know who it is, but I'll soon find out. What a beautiful square. Ruined by KFC as usual. But I suppose, you know, if people buy it. The architecture's great though, eh? Okay then, who's this? Let's have a look. It's a bit tells us. Okay, so I'm going to talk a little bit about Malmo whilst in this beautiful old square. So Malmo's the third largest city in Sweden, and for years it was the second largest. You've got Stockholm, Gothenburg, and now Malmo. It used to be part of Denmark at one time, until in the 17th century they had a treaty and it came under Swedish rule. It was known for shipbuilding for a long time, with the Cockhams, who developed into one of the largest shipyards in the world. Now what we've got in Malmo at the moment, we've got the turning torso, which kind of replaced one of the cranes that went to South Korea as a landmark, really, something to look at. IKEA are based here, Securitas. Now, talk a little bit about the suburbs, really. Sweden had this idea once upon a time to build 1 million homes between the late 60s, or mid to late 60s, mid 70s, which they did. And it came with a bit of controversy. It was a nice idea, but what's actually happened really is ghettos have been created. Now one of the ghettos is a place called Rosengard that has a population of around about 23,000 people. 90% of them are from different countries, either second generation or first generation, and it's where Zlatan Ibrahimovic comes from, famous, obviously, footballer, whose family came from the former Yugoslavia countries. Obviously something as a hero, as you can imagine. But they've had some real difficulties with immigration in Sweden. And there was a bit of controversy when Donald Trump said it was, how can I put it, that word that rhymes with tape and starts with R, capital of Europe, as it was a primary entry point for immigration from all over the world. And Nigel Farage emphasised that point by saying it again as well. So it has had its issues. There has been shootings here and things like that. There's a lot of gang-related crime, and that's spreading now into Copenhagen, sadly, with quite a few bits and bobs happening recently in August, which is a shame, really. I mean, Denmark have always had a very strict policy on immigration. So Malmo, talking about films and theatre and that kind of thing. Raven's End, the Bo Widerberg film in 1963, was nominated for an Academy Award in 1965, a couple of years later, for Best Foreign Language Film. And of course, looking at theatre, you've got Ingmar Bergman, director and chief stage director of Malmo Stadstheater. And people like Ingrid Thulin and Max von Sydow became known through his films. Gig-wise, I suppose one of the most famous venues over the years, before we got into all the stadium side of things, would be the Club Bongo, where the Stones played in the 60s. Malmo has played host to a number of stars such as Nick Cave, Morrissey, B.B. King, who love the city. And I can see why, actually. I mean, it's very oldie worldy and nice. I was going to go to Rosengard, actually, but I watched another YouTuber's account of their time there, and I just thought it looks like concrete jungle. There's not much to actually see there other than very bland looking housing that's improving, but you know, and there's a bit of trouble there really. Sometimes they don't like being filmed around that area, so fair enough. Now, if you're into your football, you might remember Malmo being the only Swedish team ever to make it to the final of what was the European Cup. Obviously now it's the Champions League, isn't it? But back then, you may also recall Trevor Francis scoring a goal for Notts Forest. It's a diving header, I think, and I think he landed in the shot put pit. Anyway, But yeah, they're the only Swedish team to get to that high level, which is quite surprising really. And the other sport that they go for big in Malmo is ice hockey. And you've got the Malmo Redhawks. Look at that. And Malmo was the fastest growing city in 2020. However, like I say, with the immigration being stamped down, a lot of people have migrated elsewhere. Don't know where to, of course. Look at that building. And I was enamoured by the building, the town hall in Rochdale the other week when I went, and looking around here, I mean, just about every building is fabulous. I'm into my buildings, the architecture.